Good afternoon. Hopefully, everyone is having a great day. Today is Tuesday, March 14th. It's kind of like a nor'easter here, a mix of like snow and rain. So, hopefully, you guys got better weather wherever you are. And if you have similar weather, that you are safe and dry. It is definitely mid-March. We're still dealing with winter weather, but it is what it is. I wanted to get on and do I'm gonna do a few episodes actually, but I'll start with this one. So I'm gonna do 3 episodes today. I'm not sure if I'll release them all on the same day, but I'm definitely recording today to make up for I didn't do one on Sunday. Just been trying to get myself together, to be honest. So trying to stay consistent still to my listeners. So hopefully this can be helpful to someone. I'm going back to actually the book that I was reading before and using as an excerpt a lot of the times for past episodes. The one from Brianna Weiss called 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. And so there are 3 chapters within this book that I want to talk about in different episodes that I felt were helpful to me at this current time in my life, but could be also helpful to someone else. And I thought they were just pretty interesting points that were made. So I'm going to get into the first one. It is called Signs Your Mental Breakdown is Actually an Emotional Breakthrough. So before getting into that, in my opinion, a mental breakdown can look different ways. And we all have probably experienced some form of a mental breakdown, whether that be once or just multiple times in our lives. I don't feel like you have to actually be diagnosed with mental disorders or anything, psychological disorders like that, to have a mental breakdown. We are all human, and as much as we have the strength to get through things, that we have emotional walls that have to be broken. And a lot of times I think that can be misconstrued. I think that there's this idea of being strong all the time, and the more you can handle, the better, which is true, because I think that God wants us to be strong, to be able to get through things. But at the same time, I feel that certain situations and things occur in our lives to break us down for the better. Now, let me explain that. Breaking you down for the better could be breaking your ego, so that you can be more humble, so that when you get to the next stage of success for yourself, or the next phase of life for yourself that is going to involve more humility, you will already have that due to the experiences that you've had that have forced you to become more humble. That's just an example. But I feel like I always say, everything happens for a reason, and we're put through certain trials and tribulations and lessons of life for reasons. We always have to remember that no matter what is going on in your life, it's for a reason. Your life is already written. So the most that we can do is just try to learn from the experience, allow ourselves to live and feel the experience, and take the knowledge with you to the next thing. But always think about the next step. Don't get stuck of where you are. Don't allow yourself to stay in misery or discomfort for long. Allow yourself to flow through it, and it will just bring you to the next thing for yourself faster, in my opinion, right? So when this says signs your mental breakdown is an emotional breakthrough, I feel that we are quick to label emotional breakthroughs as mental breakdown, because typically, if you are, I'm saying this from experience, like currently, I think that it's easy to go into, I'm having a mental breakdown because my life is not in control anymore. I don't have control over anything. And with that is causing me, or maybe not even just the control, but a certain situation that is occurring in your life is bringing about emotions that typically you do not acknowledge or allow yourself to feel. And so it can feel like a mental breakdown because these emotions are taking over your mental ability to control the situation. And that can cause you to feel like things are chaotic and essentially mentally breaking you down. But I don't think that the goal is to mentally break you down. I believe it's to mentally build you up and create a stronger character within yourself, and to allow yourself to be more in tune with your emotions and to operate within your emotions a little bit more. So I'm going to get into it. Number 1, it says you're questioning. Here we go again. You're questioning everything. Sorry, I cannot talk right now. I gotta get it together. You're done believing that things are as they appear, or that what you were raised to believe about something is the right way to think overall. You're exploring new ideas of philosophy and spirituality and politics and thought, and you're coming to find that you didn't know what you didn't know. So that's one thing, is you questioning everything. And I think a lot of times when people do that, we label it as like, you're going crazy, like, what's wrong with you? This is the way it is. But it's not the way it is. It's the way that we are told it is. But you have to allow yourself to figure out what it is that you want out of this life and what that looks like to you and what it means. So number 2, you're realizing that there is a difference between happy thoughts and happy feelings. You've been trying to fill yourself up with happy thoughts forever, only to find that you get attached to a certain outcome that doesn't become reality, and you're even unhappier in the first place. You're realizing that there's a difference between a way of thinking that lets you enjoy the moment and a way of thinking that makes you happy about potentials, possibilities, and things that are everything but what's actually happening. So again, like living in the moment, because in the current situation, you could be going through something and you might not be allowing yourself to feel sad or confused or scared or anything, or whatever the emotions that come about. Instead, you're thinking about, how do I get to the next step? I don't want to be in this. I'm uncomfortable. So how do I get back to when I can be happy? What do I need to do to get there? And when you realize that there's a difference between the two, it's important to allow yourself to do the first thing, which is to feel what it is that you are feeling and what the emotions are coming about within the situation, so that you can move into the next step peacefully. And the thing that tends to happen is, a lot of times, if you avoid the first step of feeling the feelings that are there now, even when you get to the place where you feel like you will have the peace, those feelings are still going to be hidden within you, and they're going to come about and potentially ruin the situation that you had been trying to get to anyway. So it's better to just feel the feelings now, release them, and move to the next step. Number 3, you're starting to see patterns. You're realizing that many of the things that keep resurfacing in your life, whether that be relationships, jobs, ideas, or feelings, are products of what you believe they are or should be. They are patterns, and maybe if you could figure out how to change them, the way they emerge would change too. This is very important. Something I'm learning as well is like the more in tune that I have become with my emotions and allowing this emotional breakthrough to occur, the more I'm able to see the patterns of the people that I've chosen to have in my life, the types of jobs that I've chosen, just the way of life that I had lived. It was sometimes in a scarcity lack mindset, sometimes in a avoidant mindset, and a lot of times in a guarded mindset as well, or just doing things that you think are supposed to be rather than what you want to be. And a lot of the times that leaves you back to the same space of dealing with those emotions of unhappiness, unsettled, or just confusion, anger, those types of things, and not really bringing about peace. And when you start to do things that work for you in the way that you know how to make you happy, that is when you bring about change in your patterns and change the way that you think, change the way that you feel about things and the way you handle your life. And that is essentially the goal within growing and finding your higher purpose. Number 4, you feel irrationally angry. Anger is a good emotion. That is when you finally figure out that you're not mad at the world, you're mad at yourself. This is usually what happens right before change is going to be made. Anger's younger siblings, dissatisfaction, resentment, irritation, self-pity, etc., are unpleasant but not disturbing enough to make you act. Anger makes you act. It burns through you and delivers you somewhere new. This is facts. This is facts, because it's just facts. Like anger, when you hit that level of anger where, like it says, when you get mad at yourself, that snaps you into like, all right, well, we don't have time to, not even have time, but all right, this is what we did. We take accountability for it. Now, how can we change it and fix it? And that's going to push you and burn you to, no matter what is in front of you, no matter how many rejections, you're still going to keep going until you get to what you want due to that anger. So, number 5, you're starting to question, is this all there is? Woo! I just have to pause on that because that is a question that I have been asking repeatedly recently. Like, is this really what I question as, is this really what I signed up for? Is this really how it's supposed to be? Like, what am I doing here? Why is this occurring? So it says you're starting to wonder whether or not you really were meant to just sleep, eat, work, and then die. You're starting to wonder if this is all that exists, or if it's a small aperture for a far greater reality. Number 6, you had the $1 million idea, found the relationship, got the big break, and all of a sudden you're paralyzed. We call this some good old resistance. When we perceive happiness, we perceive fear to an equal degree. It's not actually that you're resisting your new life. It's that you're very clearly identifying what you want and experiencing a natural and balanced amount of fear about it. Number 7, it seems like your emotional state is unwarranted. You shouldn't feel anxious and depressed, but you do. There's no reason for your irrational fears, but they're there. You can't quite make sense of what you're feeling, and you realize that that's because you're in the process of developing that skill. This is true. Sometimes when you're developing something new within yourself, you're not even sure of what that even means and what that, you can feel it because you're living it, but you're not sure what exactly that looks like on the outside and why this is happening the way it is. Number 8, you're uncertain about who you really are. You have come to terms with the fact that you've defined yourself based on either how people see you or how you think you should be. And there's a bit of a discrepancy between what you think you want and what you actually want. So, that is also, again, we're talking about signs. Your mental breakdown is actually an emotional breakthrough. So, I think this is a big one about being who you are, because our emotions and just your emotional intelligence, I feel like plays a huge role in who you are as a person. So when you are used to living your life the way that society has told you, your family has told you, or whoever else has told you to be, it impacts your emotional intelligence rather than you being more in tune with your higher self and knowing who you are despite what other people are saying, and just sticking to your guns in the sense of like who you want to be. And so I think that when we have this emotional breakdown, it can break you down to get rid of the armor, so to speak, of what people have told you to put on. And instead, you go to the dressing room and you pick out your own outfit of who you want to be. And that's just in general, how you want to look, how you want to feel, how you want to live your life. So, number 9, you're experiencing feelings and fears you had when you were a kid. It's all coming back up to the surface, and what you're realizing is that it was never really gone in the first place. The thoughts, ideas, beliefs, and feelings you kept tucked away were silently guiding your life. You just didn't know. Oof. I had to pause on that one because that is crucial. That is crucial. I would definitely have to wholeheartedly agree with that, because I think for me personally right now, as of recently, experiences that I've had and just the changes and transitions that have been pretty much forced upon my life, that I am working so diligently and so hard to stay positive with and try to see the good in the lesson in it, and to just go with it as best as I can. It has also definitely caused an emotional breakdown for me in a good way, because it has brought about to the surface emotions that I had been, like it says, pretty much tucking away throughout life, or definitely within childhood. And I realized that there were still emotions that had need to be talked about and just brought about, but also released. And within releasing those emotions, it allowed me to release a relationship that needed to be released from me, because it was never going to be what I wanted it to be. And that's because that person has chosen, and I've always chosen throughout my entire life, to live the way that they want to live. And just there's this barrier that's there, and I feel like it's always going to be there. And that is because of once people start taking accountability and becoming emotionally mature, then they're able to see how it has impacted not only themselves but others and those around them. And so when there is a lack of accountability and emotional maturity, it can impact the way that you interact with others. So without getting into too much detail, I would say that, for me, I wasn't necessarily lacking accountability or emotional maturity. It's the relationship itself was lacking that from the other party, that ultimately led me to just release everything. So I'm thinking that was a part of this emotional breakdown for me as well. Being able to just, I'm sweeping, like things in my life are just sweeping themselves out and being swept out and cleansing. And I'm just very much in a cleansing state right now. So even cleaning, not just myself as an adult, but my young Chanel as well, and being able to interact with her in various ways and heal her, and receive guidance from her, but also guide her as well. So you can do that as well, within your healing process. Number 10, you're terrified of loss right now. Namely, you're terrified of losing one specific thing that you think in some way will save you, even just emotionally. This is what happens when you begin to realize that nothing can do that for you. You're not afraid of loss. You're afraid of being forced to accept that reality before you think you're ready. This is true. Nobody can save you. Something I've learned as well, like not even your family, not even your mom. As much as they want to, we're all humans. We can only do so much for someone else. And the only person on earth who knows you in and out is you. They should know you is in and out. And with that, you really are the only person who can save you. And with that, you have to do the work to save yourself, your younger self, your current self, and your future self. And you have to be not afraid of losing anything or anyone besides yourself. That's the only person you should be afraid of losing. And it sounds harsh, but it's necessary. You came into this world by yourself, and you're going to leave by yourself. So make sure that you and yourself are close, like inseparable, and that you know that you will always save yourself. Number 11, you're giving up on the things you need to give up on. You're not giving up on your dreams. You're not giving up on your relationship. You are simply giving up on the idea that these things will be something more than what they are. You're giving up on what's not right for you. You're learning that giving up is such a negative term for something that's really healthy when necessary. So when we think of giving up, that is typically like ego driven to say that it's negative, because you're essentially allowing someone or something to win. You are potentially giving up and not fighting your hardest, or not doing what you think that you're supposed to do and get the end result that you think you should have. But in actuality, when you mature and when you learn that it's all about you and you have to look out what's right for you, giving up is not negative. Giving up is actually winning. If something is not right for you, give it up. There's no sense in fighting it unless that thing is fighting for you as well, whether that be a relationship or it's you see something turning around and working out for you. Don't resist. Anything that is causing you resistance and causing you to fight and causing you to work hard for it, typically is probably not for you. The things for you will flow to you. You will not have to work hard for that. You will not have to prove yourself to it. You will not have to keep staying on your toes about it. It will just flow to you. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have to grow within it and that you don't have to keep elevating yourself. That is the case, but I feel like you understand what I'm saying. If something is giving you a large amount of resistance and you feel like, I just can never get it right? Or it's always something. There's always something about something. It's time to reevaluate that, because it's probably not right for you, and it's okay to give that up. And if it's for you, it'll come back to you. What's for you can never miss you, no matter how much we resist it. So don't live in resistance, live in a flow effort. And number 12, you've decided you're not going to be the victim of your own mind anymore. People don't have breakdowns unless they are on the precipice of breakthroughs. Breakdowns, or any kind of intense mental, emotional turmoil, are always a sign that things are in the process of changing. Otherwise, they just be normal. You're done accepting your old normal, and you're on to bigger, better, brighter, happier things. Love that, because, again, like it says, a breakdown is really just an intense cleansing. It's an intense cleansing of your old habits, of your old thoughts, and your old mindset, and the way that you lived your life. Sometimes it's an intense cleansing of you getting out of survival mode and learning to live. And sometimes these types of breakdowns are forced upon us by the universe, God, but it's always for your greater good and for your higher good. And the more that you allow these breakdowns to break you down, you have to realize that it's a breakthrough. It's breaking through the armor that you have been wearing, whether that be, again, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sometimes even physically, to reveal who you really are, your higher self, the person that you subconsciously have been trying to become within this world. If you say to yourself and you pray and you say, I want to do better, I want to grow, I want to be a better woman, I want to be a better man, I want to get this job, I want to move here, I want to buy this house, you got to be ready for the breakthrough, because those things aren't typically and not going to be coming in the current state that you are in right now. You're going to have to experience a breakthrough and a breakdown, because we got to get rid of the old to bring in the new. Again, remember, pack light. Bring things with you that you need. And typically, you really don't need anything when you're trying to go to the next level, because you can get new things, better things. Always make room for better in your life. And that's in all aspects. So, again, I'm going to read that excerpt one more time. It says, you've decided you're not going to be the victim of your own mind anymore. People don't have breakdowns unless they are on the precipice of breakthroughs. Breakdowns, or any kind of intense mental, emotional turmoil, are always a sign that things are in the process of changing. Otherwise, they just be normal. You're done accepting your old normal, and you're on to bigger, better, brighter, happier things. So if you are, like me, I'm in it with you, you feel like you are having somewhat of a mental breakdown, It's actually an emotional breakthrough. Remember that. Allow this emotional breakthrough to cleanse you of all of the old, to bring about the new. And remember, this is a sign that things are in the process of changing. And if you have requested change, be happy. Be happy in this state, no matter what it's looking like. Be happy because change is coming, and to be real, you don't even have to do that much work. If things are changing drastically in your life in ways that you didn't even try to really physically yourself initiate, you should be happy because you really don't have to do much of the work. And again, it's just a sign that you're going to be moving on to bigger, better, brighter, happier things. And with that in mind, you should always be happy when these types of occurrences occur. Obviously, allow yourself to be sad if you're going to be sad, and whatever other emotions come through. But just remember that an emotional breakthrough eventually it's a positive thing. It might not feel like it in the moment, but it's going to be. It's going to bring about what it is that you essentially need. And sometimes we don't know as humans what we really need. And that's when you allow the universe, God, to bring that to you in whatever aspect and mannerism or way that they feel is best. And so you just got to keep praying. You got to keep meditating. You got to stay in a good mental state. Allow the things to go that are going, and keep the things that want to stay here. And just keep yourself focused and allow this emotional breakthrough to break you through. Break you through to the barriers of the next step of your life that you have been manifesting for yourself. So hopefully that was helpful. Again, I'm going to record 2 other episodes as well, so look out for those. And as always, if you can, check out my website. It's linked in my bio on my Instagram and TikTok. Both are at Black Hippie Lounge. You can also check me out on Twitter on Black Hippie Lounge. I have hoodies and t-shirts. I will be showing more photos of them as well, so you guys can see. Look out. I have some really great projects coming up this year that I'm very excited for, and I will be able to share with you all when it's getting closer to. So as always, I'm your host, Chanel. This is Black Hippie Lounge. Meditate, manifest, invest in you. Take care of yourself. Allow yourself to just be in this emotional breakthrough, and allow it to break you through to your next step, because you are going where you want to be. So within that, allow yourself to be in this state and go with it, honestly. And as always, meditate, manifest, invest in you, and take care. Meditate, manifest, invest in you. Join me on my spiritual journey as I elevate myself and like-minded listeners to a higher level, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for listening. This is Black Hippie Lounge, and I am your host, Chanel.